In the heart of the Okavango Delta, the sun beat down relentlessly, transforming the land into a parched, stifling expanse. The drought dominated the landscape, and the once lush greenery had become a sea of golden, brittle vegetation. This was the world that Renoka and Lekin, two imposing lion brothers, faced. Strong and resolute, they moved with an impressive presence, their tense muscles and watchful gazes reflecting the harshness of survival they had come to know in this unforgiving environment. Renoka, the larger and more dominant, and his loyal brother Lekin had arrived in Okavango with a clear mission: to establish their own pride and build a powerful lineage. Amidst this unforgiving terrain, they spotted the Zakanga pride, led by two males weakened by age and the drought. For Renoka and Lekin, this was the chance they had long awaited. Silent and focused, they observed the group, studying every move, every detail, until the right moment arrived. In a fierce battle, the brothers attacked, displaying a combination of brute strength and precise strategy. The confrontation was brutal, filled with roars echoing across the delta, until finally, the former kings were defeated. Renoka and Lekin took command of the Zakanga pride, marking the beginning of a new reign under their relentless leadership. The lionesses, recognizing the strength and security the new leaders brought, accepted Renoka and Lekin, who brought stability and renewed hope to the group. But leadership came with challenges beyond territorial conquest. The drought persisted, and prey became scarce, making survival an increasingly arduous task. Renoka knew they needed a new strategy. Traditional hunts were no longer enough, and hunger threatened each member of the pride. So the brothers made a bold decision: to hunt elephants. With smaller prey becoming rare, these giants were the only chance to feed everyone. Side by side, Renoka and Lekin prepared to face these formidable adversaries. After assuming leadership of the Zakanga pride, Renoka and Lekin tackled the challenges of drought with determination. Driven by survival instincts and the responsibility of providing for the pride, the brothers executed their daring plan to hunt elephants. In the initial attacks, the lion's strength and courage prevailed. The abundance of elephant meat provided relief to the pride, temporarily easing their hunger. Hey everyone, if you enjoy watching our videos, help us by subscribing to our channel. It's really important, and that way you support us. Now, let's get into the video. But the success of these hunts soon proved dangerous. The elephants, aware of the new hunters, began to retaliate aggressively. In a counterattack, a group of elephants charged at the pride's cubs, trampling them under the helpless gaze of the lionesses. For young lions were lost that day, and the pain of this loss weighed heavily on the hearts of Renoka and Lekin. The lionesses were devastated, and a feeling of vulnerability permeated the pride. Bearing the weight of responsibility, the brothers faced a dilemma: to remain in the delta, challenging the elephants and risking the safety of what was left of their pride, or to leave in search of a new territory where smaller prey and greater security for the cubs might await. The following nights were marked by silent vigilance. Under the starlit African sky, Renoka and Lekin pondered the future, aware that any decision could seal the fate of their reign. Finally, the brothers decided to leave. At dawn, the pride set out, led by Renoka, whose steady stride and unwavering gaze reflected his determination. As they distanced themselves from the delta's borders, the promise of new horizons and renewed hope guided their steps. Yet the unknown offered no guarantees, and each step was a gamble against the unforgiving fate of the savannah. In the first days of their journey, silence was broken only by the rustling of dry grass beneath the lion's paws. They searched for any sign of life, but the vastness around them offered only a golden field of parched grasslands. Yet fate seemed to smile upon them when the first rains fell over the delta. Gradually, the dry ground began to soak up the water, and the promise of renewal started to take shape. As the waters returned, so did the prey. Giraffes were the first to reappear, their long necks casting elegant shadows against the cloudy sky. This newfound abundance brought relief, but the hunts now carried risks the lions had never encountered. During one of these hunts, one of the most experienced lionesses was struck by a powerful kick from a giraffe. The force of the impact sent her to the ground, her jaw fractured. Despite the pride's efforts to keep her fed, Infection spread in the days that followed, and the lioness succumbed. Once again, the Zakenga pride found itself in mourning, and the loss weighed heavily on Renoka's spirit. Despite these losses and new dangers, the pride could not rest. The need for meat to sustain the young and the lionesses was constant, and the fight for survival continued to demand courage and sacrifice. With the return of the rains, the Okavango Delta began to show signs of rebirth. Rivers slowly filled, and vegetation sprang back to life. The promise of more prosperous days seemed within reach for the Zakenga pride. Yet this renewed abundance brought challenges. The revitalized territory soon caught the attention of other lion groups, rivals eager to challenge anyone who dared to claim this region. Among these groups was a feared coalition known for its brutality, the Shadows. These young, vigorous lions patrolled the outskirts of Zakenga territory, watching and waiting for the right moment to strike. To them, Renoka and Lekin were mere obstacles to be removed, and their ambition to dominate the Delta made them both dangerous and determined. During a quiet afternoon, while Renoka and Lekin were patrolling the eastern borders of their territory, the attack came. The lionesses and cubs, temporarily left unprotected, were ambushed by the three dominant males of the Shadows. In a fierce advance, the rivals struck at the cubs with precision, leaving a trail of chaos and despair among the lionesses as they desperately tried to shield their young. When Renoka and Lekin returned, they encountered a desolate scene. The scent of blood still lingered in the air, and the looks on the lionesses' faces conveyed a grief beyond words. 3 of the cubs had been killed. The loss weighed on Renoka like a heavy blow, and his spirit, already marked by past losses, filled with a mix of anger and resolve. Without hesitation, Renoka and Lekin moved toward the area where the Shadows were still prowling, determined to avenge the attack and restore order. Renoka's roar echoed through the Delta, a war cry that made even the fiercest predators tremble. That night, the battle between the two coalitions was brutal. Renoka took on 2 of the rivals alone, while Lekin confronted the third invader. The fight was relentless, and the brothers' determination prevailed, but at a high price. Covered in deep gashes and with his body exhausted, Renoka felt the weight of his victories and defeats. Conservationists watching from a distance feared for his life, observing as he fought to stay conscious. Renoka had defended his pride with every ounce of his strength, but his body bore the toll of battle. In the days that followed, Lekin took on the temporary leadership, guiding the pride and strengthening the bond among the lionesses, including those who had once belonged to the defeated Shadows. A new and powerful coalition was formed, uniting forces and purposes under the brothers' leadership. Against all odds, Renoka slowly emerged from the shadow of death, carrying within him a renewed strength, as if each scar served as a reminder of his mission and his promise to protect the pride at any cost. From then on, the hunts became symbols of resilience and vengeance. Renoka, still grieving the lost lioness, seemed obsessed with taking down their former prey, the giraffes. Each successful hunt reaffirmed his strength, but also reminded him of the pain he and the pride carried. Renoka's recovery brought a new era of power and unity to the Zakenga pride. With the waters and vegetation returning to the Delta, life seemed to flourish again, and the lions began to explore every corner of their revitalized territory. Hunts became more frequent, and soon, the pride re-established its position of strength and dominance in the region. The lionesses, skilled hunters, pursued buffalo, zebras, and wildebeest to keep the pride fed, while Renoka and Lekin focused their energy on larger prey. Yet, the memory of losses and the desire for vengeance still burned within Renoka's spirit. Hunting giraffes, those graceful and towering creatures, became almost an obsession, a way for Renoka to assert his power and honor the memory of the lost lioness. Each successful ambush was a silent tribute to the pride's resilience and the cost of survival. Lekin, always by Renoka's side, shared in this determination, and together, the brothers restored confidence and respect among the group. However, the pride's hunting successes and newfound strength began to attract the attention of other predators. The fame of Renoka and Lekin as powerful leaders spread across the Delta, and with it came new challenges. Small coalitions of lions, drawn by the bounty of Zakenga territory, attempted to invade their land. But Renoka, still marked by his encounter with the shadows, was unwilling to relinquish even a piece of the territory he had conquered. Each confrontation became a test of his resilience, and with every victory, the Zakanga pride reinforced its reputation as one of the most feared in the Delta. However, this fixation on control and legacy exacted a toll. The constant exposure to danger and the wear of battle left visible marks on both Renoka and Lekin, whose vigor now began to show signs of decline. For the two brothers, the urgency to secure the pride's future grew, and the fear of losing everything they had built loomed over them. As the pride's cubs matured and prepared for adulthood, Renoka and Lekin confronted the uncertainties of their own mortality. The Okavango Delta, a land of life and death, of abundance and despair, continued to challenge the brothers, who found themselves torn between vengeance, the protection of their lineage, and the acceptance that even the most powerful kings cannot escape nature's inevitable cycle. As night fell over the Delta, under the gleaming stars, Renoka and Lekin, now scarred and battle-worn, reflected on their journeys. They knew the climax of their story was yet to come, and that the next battle could very well be their last. But for the kings of the Delta, as long as there was an enemy to face and a lineage to protect, the fight would never end. As time passed, the Zakanga pride thrived under the tireless protection of Renoka and Lekin. The cubs, now young and robust lions, joined the brothers on patrol, learning with every step, every decision. To these young lions, Renoka and Lekin were more than leaders. They were living legends, symbols of strength and resilience in a world where only the strongest survive. Yet peace in the Okavango Delta was always fragile, and the relentless cycle of nature held new challenges in store. On a stifling afternoon, as the pride rested in the shade of an acacia tree, a distant rumble signaled the arrival of a new threat. In the distance, the roar of a group of unknown lions echoed, powerful and resolute. These newcomers had crossed hostile territories to challenge Renoka and Lekin's reign. Drawn by the brothers' reputation and the abundance of the Zakanga territory, these rivals were determined to take what Renoka and Lekin had fought so hard to build. The young lions of the pride, driven by courage and the need to defend their land, stood alongside the brothers, ready to face the impending battle. Renoka, with his seasoned gaze, understood that this would be the greatest challenge of his life. It wasn't just about defending territory. It was a chance to secure the legacy he and Lekin had sacrificed so much to create. He exchanged a meaningful look with Lekin, and without words, the two understood that this battle would define the pride's future. When the two groups finally clashed, the tension was thick in the air. Dust hung heavily, and a threatening silence filled the space. The rivals were numerous, strong, and relentless, seemingly with the vigor of youth on their side. But Renoka and Lekin, though older and marked by scars, bore the experience and ferocity of countless battles. The first strike landed, and the air filled with the sound of snarls and claws tearing through fur. The brothers fought with the fury of those who had nothing to lose and everything to protect. Lekin, with quick and precise movements, struck at his foes with the same ferocity that had made him feared by all who dared approach Zakanga territory. Renoka, larger and more imposing, advanced like a force of nature, each swing of his paw a reminder of the power he wielded. The battle seemed endless, and both Renoka and Lekin were exhausted. The weight of years and countless fights took its toll. Yet, the young lions of the pride, inspired by the brothers' bravery, joined in a final, coordinated attack. The unity and spirit of sacrifice that Renoka and Lekin had instilled in them now proved invaluable, and the rivals retreated, beaten and forced to save what remained of their strength. At the end of the battle, Renoka and Lekin, bloodied and scarred from the clash, rose as the uncontested kings of the Delta. But the victory, though celebrated, brought with it a sobering realization. They knew their time was running short, and that the young lions around them would soon need to take on the roles of leaders and protectors. As the sun set, painting the Delta in hues of gold and red, Renoka and Lekin lay side by side, gazing at the horizon. They had ensured their legacy would endure, but they also accepted that the story of the Delta's kings would continue even when they were no longer there to lead. And we've reached the end of another beautiful story. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment saying, "I liked it," so we can bring more videos like this one. Big hug, and see you in our next video.